Hello, this is Huskins, your Forex mentor. Welcome to another awesome, eventful day in the markets today, April 5th, and the preview of April 7th and 8th. That's Sunday and Monday. Your daily dose of events that shape the Forex market. Every non farm payroll is eventful, but today is special. More on that later. You see this donkey out here? I want to share a story about the donkey. There was a farmer's donkey which fell into a well, and the animal cried. It was really sad, and the farmer tried to figure out what to do. Finally, the farmer decided that the animal was old and was, wanted to bury him alive because there's nothing which he could do. So he invited all his neighbors to come over and help him. They grabbed a shovel and began to shovel dirt on into the well. At first, the donkey realized what was happening and cried horribly. Then, to everyone's amazement, he quietened down. A few shovel loads later, the farmer finally looked down the well. He was astonished at what he saw. With each shovel of dirt that hit the donkey's back, the donkey was doing something amazing. He would shake it off and step up. As the farmers and the farmer's neighbors continued to shovel dirt on the top of the animal, he would shake it off and take a step up. Pretty soon, everyone was amazed as the donkey stepped over the edge of the well, happily, and trotted off. Now, the moral of the story is that life is going to shovel dirt on you, all kinds of dirt. The trick is to get out of the well by shaking it off and taking a baby step each time. Each of our trouble is a stepping stone. We can get out of the deepest well just by not stopping and never give up. Now shake it off and step it up. Now our results: Canadian Ivey PMI April 5th, 2013. Now, even though I classified this as a no trade, take a look at a different perspective. Now, each trader develops his or her own style, and it's based on his own experience in the market and market knowledge. Now, I personally did not trade this Canadian Ivey PMI. In fact, Rick and I were talking about trading it, and I have mentioned this in the members only section on why Rick did what he did. I did not get a plan to investigate and follow on his knowledge, so I did not make a trade. But I thought it was very interesting, and I asked him to do a video, and he's posted it in the members only section. Now, I want to share with you something called statistical wizardry. Now, the feds tell you that the unemployment rate is 7.6, better than the forecast of 7.7. And also tell you that the non-farm employment change was only 88,000 new jobs versus approximately 200,000 expected. So, why is the unemployment rate falling while the jobs are not being added? One thing, just to keep up with population growth, every month USA needs to add between 200 to 250,000 new jobs. That's just to keep up with population growth. So in short, if it does not add about 200,000 jobs every month, it is making a negative job growth of 200,000. Now, the numbers which I use are actually special numbers. Now, they look like normal numbers. They use the decimal system. You can add them, you can subtract them, you can even multiply them, but they are imposters. They're crooked, they're bent, and they are perverted. They do not mean the same thing as a stand-up normal numbers, and they technically may not mean anything at all. The unemployment rate, the one the mainstream media is fixated on, dropped to 7.6. the lowest since the official start of the recession in December 2007. Now, that came out only because 663,000 people left the labor force for good. Now, the labor force participation rate, that means the percentage of the working age population in the labor force, sank to 63.3%. That is the lowest in 19 since May 1979. Now, what does this mean? That means that anybody who can actually work, all right, let's say if there are 100 people who can actually work, out of which only 63 people say that they are looking for work, and out of these 63%, 7.6% say that they don't have work and they are actually not are looking for employment and haven't got any employment. Now, this is such a misleading you know equation, because yes, there are certain people who choose not to work, people who have the money, or businesses, or a businessman um, who does not actually need to work. But for the majority of the population, self-employment is also an employment, and uh, that would not be construed as an unemployment. So let me reiterate this: that out of 100 people, close to about 40 people, according to the survey, are not even looking for work. That means they've given up that hope. Now, if unemployment rate were measured with the way it was measured earlier, now that's what John Williams at Shadow Government Statistics still does. If you want, you can Google that. The unemployment would be about 23% in the United States of America, not the 7.6% which the headline number screams. Now, let's look at the behind the scenes look at the non-farm payroll numbers. Now, the non-farm payroll employment edged up in March by 88,000, and the unemployment rate was little changed at 7.6%. The employment grew in professional and business services and in healthcare, but declined in retail sales. Both the number of unemployed persons at 11.7 million and unemployment rate at 7.6% were little changed in March. Amongst the major worker groups that the unemployment rates are: adult male men 6.9%, adult women 7%, teenagers 25%, whites 6.7%, blacks 13.3%, Hispanics 9.2%. Now, this showed little or no change in March. The jobless rate for Asians was about 5%. Now, this was also little changed from a year earlier. In March, the numbers of long-term unemployed. Now, what are the long-term unemployed? Those jobless for 27 weeks or more, was little changed at 4.6 million. These individuals accounted for 39.6% of the unemployed. So, this is the way you look at it, that about 40% of the unemployed are chronically unemployed, a long-term unemployed. That is not very good. For a healthy economy, you require people who are unemployed are temporarily unemployed. They're between jobs, not like forever looking for jobs. And when I also told you about the way the statistics are used to massage the numbers and manipulate it, and give you a number which is outright false, uh, leads us to believe that the economy has not improved. Now, let's look at the other side of the border. Out here on my side, the Canadian jobs, 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 they were crying today. Now, I actually wanted to share this story with you. I do not know whether I can now start trading on this, but I have a lot of friends who are physicians, and we meet and we talk nearly every day, and a lot of them had started complaining to me that people are coming up to them with anxiety problems of losing their jobs, or with fear of losing their job. Now, I had that at the back of my mind, but I did not think of that much. But today I saw what the numbers were. The full time work numbers in Canadian jobs were dropped by 54,000. About 55,000 positions were dropped. Now, this you need to bear in mind was because the government employed 30,000 people. So the real job loss from the private sector is close to 80,000 people lost their jobs in Canada. Now, the unemployment rate for the first time in 5 months rose to 7.2% from 7%. Now let's look at behind the curtains at the Canadian numbers. Now, despite the decline in March, employment was 1.2%, or 203,000 above the level 12 months earlier, with the increase mainly in full-time work. So now I'm not comparing month to month, I'm comparing year to year. Over the same period, the total number of hours worked also rose by 1.2%. Now, provincially, employment declined in Quebec, British Columbia, and Alberta, and edged down in Ontario. The only province with an increase in work was Nova Scotia. In March, there were fewer people employed in three industries: accommodation and food services, and public administration and manufacturing. At the same time, there was little change in other industries. There were 85,000 fewer private sector employees in March, while the number of self employed rose by 39,000. Now, why is this so important that self employed rose by 39,000? Because most of the people who are self employed are not employed out of choice, because that's the only thing which they can do. They take any contract, or they'll work for anything, and that is exactly what is happening. It's not high paying and it is not stable, and so it's not a very good thing when self-employment rises, because we don't have something very steady. Now, and the number of public sector employees was little change. Now, compared to 12 months earlier, the number of the private sector employees increased by 1%, or 111,000, while as the number of self-employed was up 2.1%, or 55,000. As a result of the gains in March, public sector employment was little change over the 12-month period. Now, the employment in March decreased amongst people aged 25 to 54, while as there was little change amongst youth and people aged 55 and over. What does this mean? The people who actually really are the driving force behind any economy are the age group between 25 and 54. Now, if employment decreases out there, that's not a very good sign. Okay, so what's the conclusion out here? We have had troubles in the United Kingdom. The world is okay. The world is in bad shape, but the stock markets keep rising. what should you do? So let me pull up the stock market charts really quick. Now let's look at the stock market along with gold. All right, let's see what actually happened. The stock market fell at the number, and then the market said, oh, we have an awful number, but so what, let me yet increase. And so it yet increased after what the number was. All right, and here let's look at gold. What happened to gold? Gold, the numbers came out, and gold prices shot up, and then did the gold prices turn around? Not really. So now this is a sign that things are turning around in gold, that even with the increase in the stock market, the price of gold did not fall down. Is it a time to buy now? Let me pull this up really quick. Remember, I told you all about buying from this particular region, and maybe it is the time, but I would not be. I yet have not got the or haven't been able to study the commitments of traders and see the report. But it could be a good time to actually buy. I'm not giving a call on it, but I will share my analysis with you all on Monday. So that's about it. But about the Dow, it is yet not a good time to sell because the market looks like it wants to keep on going higher. So that's about it, guys. Talk to you um, on Monday. Let's look at the preview on Monday before I. Okay, so on Sunday we have the current account from Japan. Not a big deal, so I'll be going on and trading my gap trade. All right. Then on Monday there isn't anything which I'll be looking at. So Monday also will be a very light trading day. Nothing in particular, market shattering to look at. So that's about it, guys. Talk to you either on Sunday or Monday. Depends on what happens in the weekend. Bye. Take care.